Never look in the rearview mirror on this part of the road. And more important than anything, do not stop. They call the A75 the Killer Road. But I used to laugh at that name. I thought it was just an excuse for drunk drivers or local kids making up ghost stories to scare tourists. That was until that night when I realized there are things waiting on that straight stretch of asphalt that are far worse than death. The scariest part isn't seeing a ghost. The scariest part is not knowing if what you just saw was real, or if your own brain is finally rotting away from sleep deprivation. My name is O. I'm a logistics manager for a shipping company in Dumfries. My job is all about numbers, cargo, and schedules accurate to the minute. I'm a man of logic and science. I don't believe in baseless rumors, especially about Scotland's most haunted road, the A75, specifically the Kinmount Strait section. That Friday was hell. A major shipment had paperwork issues, keeping me at the warehouse until 2 a.m. When I finally walked out of the office, it was pouring rain. Heavy drops hammered against my windshield, creating a monotonous, dreary rhythm. My body was wrecked. My eyes burned from staring at computer screens for 14 hours straight. Sleep felt like a heavy stone crushing my eyelids. All I wanted was to get home, crawl under my warm covers, and sleep until noon. Normally, I'd take the long way around, about 20 minutes longer, but well lit and populated. But tonight, exhaustion won over caution. I glanced at the dashboard clock, 2:15 a.m. Shortcut it is, I muttered, turning the wheel toward the A75. Save 20 minutes, get 20 minutes more sleep. That was the worst mistake of my life. The Kinmount Strait appeared before me like a black tunnel with no end. No streetlights. Just my headlights slicing through the heavy rain. On both sides, thick trees lined the road, their branches swaying in the storm like skeletal arms waving me down. I cranked up the radio to stay awake, but the signal was weak out here. Just static mixed with distorted snippets of music. I turned it off. Silence filled the cab, save for the steady hum of the engine and the wipers. Thwack, hiss, thwack, hiss. About 10 minutes into the straightaway, the drowsiness hit me hard. My head bobbed. I was slipping into microsleeps, blacking out for seconds at a time before jerking awake. That's when I saw it. A shadow darted across my eyes. It was fast. Not a deer, not a fox. I tapped the brakes, my heart skipping a beat. Probably just a stray dog, I whispered, trying to calm my nerves. I rubbed my eyes, straining to see the road. But then, something else appeared. Clearer this time. About 50 yards ahead, a bizarre creature was standing right in the middle of the lane. Flickering light and rain, it looked like a dog. But the size was impossible. It was huge, muscular, and was it standing on its hind legs? I squinted. The image was distorted through the wet glass. In a split second, the creature lunged straight at my car. I screamed and slammed the brakes to the floor. Thud! A massive impact echoed through the frame. I felt the hit. The car skidded on the slick asphalt before coming to a halt. I gasped for air, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I had hit something. I had definitely killed an animal, or worse, a person. Shaking, I unbuckled my seatbelt, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped out. The freezing rain slapped my face, waking me up a little. I shined the light at the front bumper, bracing myself for a gruesome scene of blood and guts. But nothing. No blood. No roadkill. My front bumper didn't even have a scratch or a dent. What the hell? I walked around the car, shining the light under the chassis, checking the shoulder of the road. completely empty. I stood frozen in the rain, a chill running down my spine that had nothing to do with the cold. I know I heard the impact. I felt the car shudder. "You're just exhausted, oh," I told myself, my voice trembling. "You're hallucinating. Just go home. You need sleep." I got back in and locked the doors. The safety of this metal box suddenly felt incredibly fragile. I started driving again, but much slower. 5 minutes later, the madness escalated. This time, something flew straight at my windshield. It wasn't a bird. In the millisecond before impact, I saw it. A creature shaped like a chicken, but with the wrinkled face of an old woman. It slammed into the glass. But instead of shattering glass and gore, it simply evaporated upon contact, like it was made of smoke. At this point, I didn't trust my eyes anymore. I started questioning my sanity. Did I fall asleep at the wheel? Am I dreaming? Did I die in a crash miles back? And this is hell? I slapped my cheek hard. It stung. I was alive, I was driving, but the things outside, they were real too. The Kinmount Strait felt endless. I felt like I'd been driving for an hour, yet the scenery never changed. Suddenly, lights appeared in the distance. Headlights, bright ones, a truck coming from the opposite direction. I exhaled in relief. Another human being. The presence of the living made the fear subside slightly. I dimmed my high beams so I wouldn't blind the other driver. But as the truck got closer, my smile vanished. It was in the wrong lane. It was heading straight for me. I laid on the horn and flashed my lights frantically. The truck didn't slow down. It was a monster, an ancient, rusted, heavy-duty rig from the 70s. The engine roared like a beast, drowning out the storm. Its high beams were blinding, swallowing my entire field of vision. I yanked the wheel to the left, but there were deep ditches on both sides. I had nowhere to go. The truck barreled toward me at terrifying speed. I could see its rusted grill, massive like a mouth gaping open to devour my little car. I couldn't do anything. My body was paralyzed. My survival instincts were screaming, but my limbs wouldn't obey. 10 yards, 5 yards. Its air horn blasted, a deafening shriek that tore through my eardrums. I squeezed my eyes shut, screaming in desperation, waiting for the impact that would crush my bones. Whoosh! A violent blast of wind shook my entire car. But there was no crunch of metal. No pain. I opened my eyes. The road ahead was empty. The massive truck was gone. I looked in the rearview mirror. The road behind me was dark and silent. No taillights. It had passed right through me. I don't remember how I drove the rest of the way. I just remember flooring the gas in absolute panic, my hands and legs shaking uncontrollably. I fled that road like a madman. When I saw the warm yellow streetlights of my suburban town, I started crying. I pulled into my driveway but didn't dare get out. I sat there, gripping the wheel, sweat pouring off me despite the AC blasting. I looked in the rearview mirror one last time, just my own gaunt, pale face staring back. But deep down, I felt like something had followed me home. That night, I turned on every light in the house and sat in the corner of the living room until sunrise. I called in sick for 3 days straight. And I swear, even if I have to drive a detour 3 times as long, I will never put my tires on the A75 at night again. People say it was just hallucinations from fatigue. Scientists talk about light refraction, but I know what I saw. Exhaustion might make you see blurry shapes, but it doesn't create a deafening air horn or a blast of wind that shakes your car when a multi-ton iron beast passes through your body. You think the story ended when I got home? No. The next morning, I went out to check the car, just to prove to myself I wasn't crazy. That's when I saw it. On the windshield, right where the chicken thing had hit. There was a smudge. It wasn't a crack, it was a handprint. A tiny handprint with 3 unnaturally long fingers. Printed from the inside of the glass. If you're ever driving alone late at night and start feeling sleepy, pull over immediately. Don't try to push through, because sometimes the thing keeping you awake isn't the coffee. It's the terror of realizing the backseat isn't empty. Like this video if you believe what I told you, and subscribe right now so I know I'm not alone.